I boot the stream.
We in there, boys.
All right, welcome to Card Knock Life. This is episode 100. Cinco times 20, 100 times 1.
The word you're looking for is cien there, boss. Cien. There you go.
20 is cien?
No, 100 is cien.
Bad beats are $1. They've always been $1. I don't know. What's the interest rate on those things? Like, are we up to like at least $2 at this point?
Dude, bad beats are always $1. They don't inflate. The interest rate doesn't go up.
I hope you guys have been paying out.
We haven't had to pay out. We haven't had any bad beats since we began.
No, there have been some bad beats, but I try not to tell them on the podcast. I try and leave those to the stream so that I don't have to pay the viewers. I just not a fan of paying out.
Well, before we get too carried away, I just want to introduce here. We've got Darrel as usual and myself as usual, and John's back. It's been a while. How are you doing, John?
Oh, we got at Red Deck Winning Podcast.
That's right. We've been on hiatus, but who knows?
Hey, man, sometimes you got to take a good break. We did that every once in a while. Christmas, Thanksgiving, life stuff,
Yeah, man.
Yep. 24/7.
What's that?
Magic 24/7, guys.
Oh, Magic 24/7. You gotta, you have to be committed.
That makes me the scrub lord, I guess.
Let me just say, I'm looking back here at the archives. In our first episode, we recorded episode 1.
Oh boy!
On March.
Could be good.
Where is it now? March 20 something. Let me look if I just close it. March 24th, 2015. We've been doing this for 3 years.
Oh god, this has got to be.
Suck at it.
This has got to be atrocious. Please don't dredge up these bad memories.
So
we have like
before we get too far with that, the conversations we're going to have today, I do want to just kind of give you a little walk down memory lane here. And I'm going to hold my phone up to the microphone for this event, but I certainly will edit it in the not raw and uncut version that I'm going to be putting up on the website later. Okay. So if you're watching on Twitch, you're going to get all the dog barks, all the farts and the burps and stuff in the microphone today. But here is a trip down memory lane to episode 100, episode 1.
Very first episode of A Card Knock Life. We're happy to be here with you talking Magic, specifically competitive, constructed, standard, legacy, and modern. We are a bunch of tournament grinders and spikes and financiers that all met in Madison playing Magic for quite a long time and have since kind of disbanded and gone to our different parts of the state and in some cases the country. We're going to start out with an introduction here. Yeah. We'll hand things off to the first host, who is John Galli.
Sure. I've played Magic since Revised, and usually been playing red decks, as most of you guys know here. But I've had my share of experiences in Magic, mostly competitive, and still trying to make the Pro Tour.
So
Darrel is up next. Hey guys, we've got like some sort of like ring interference sound going on.
Oh my god!
Much like the murderous child from the movie. Speaking of the phone, Darrel's up next.
All right, Darrel Faulkner. I've started playing in Mirrodin and Onslaught. I like to watch paint dry, so I play a lot of Control. The Greatest Hits album, Control 2014, Drownyard, Control 2013, also Drownyard, Control 2013, also Keswick Wolf Run, Miracles 2014, Top 2 in SCG. I like to play a lot of Legacy. I've kind of faded away from Standard, so Legacy and Modern are more I'm playing. And you probably won't see me point a Goblin Guy at anyone anytime soon.
And Darrel, these are all Pro Tour victories, of course, right?
No, 2 PTQ top 8s, a 5K, 16th place, and then a top 2 in SCG event.
Very nice. All right, I am Corey, and I have been playing since the middle school ages. Bought a box of Mercadian Masks, and my greatest hits started shortly thereafter with FNM Top 4 March 31st, 2003 at 7 o'clock p.m. I've got it written down as a tattoo on my arm. I'm just making that up.
Man, our audio quality was miserable back then.
Oh, it hasn't gotten much better, but we go on.
Yeah,
So-
life.
Back in time, though.
I still like to watch paint dry. It's bad.
Yeah. Just before you went into your greatest hits, Brandon did his introduction. I cut him out because he didn't show up today. He had something going on.
What
so
a jerk.
things happen. Life happens. But he did his own greatest hits album, and he said, much like a Creed album, that hits just keep on coming. And so it's all his
That sounds
finishes.
total Brandon right there.
Oh, man. I just don't want to talk about Creed. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
He said something about Wizards has got me by the balls. That was the first word from Brandon on the podcast was Wizards has got me by the balls and they haven't dropped yet or something like that.
I mean, he's not wrong. I think that's all of us, but
Yeah, we were 15 at the time, so we had a lot to learn and
yeah.
But yeah, John, you're not safe here, man. We're gonna embarrass the heck out of you guys today. No, I'm just kidding. That was the extent of it, but I figured we had to take a moment to just look back at the very first experience, talking into the microphones and recording ourselves doing it, and how awful and awkward it was. And
It's not much. It's not,
Beginning, man.
it's not much better.
Humble beginnings, right?
Humble beginnings indeed. And you've since gone on, John. You do the Red Deck podcast. You said you're on hiatus, but tell us a little bit about what life has been like, specifically related to Magic, since your last day on Card Knock Life.
Well, it's been good, man. Like, I was grinding a lot, and then, life happens, and I had to take a break, so I was off for about 6 months there. And now, as you guys probably saw on Facebook, I'm trying to do some GP grinding here coming up.
Yeah.
So trying to hit as many as possible in the next month, including a couple PTQs this weekend as well. So, working up for Toronto for Modern. So I figured it's good that we're talking Modern today because I need to catch up on this format.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were going to be like a fine-tuned, well-oiled machine focused on just destroying the Modern metagame after today. Just be
Sweet.
prepared.
I love it.
Yes. Looking very svelte, by the way.
What's that?
Looking very svelte, by the way. Looking very good.
Yeah, I had to take a break from Magic to actually get outside, run around. The things that us nerds usually don't do. So
Smart man.
yeah. But I'm looking forward to doing some Modern because it's been a while and I haven't settled in on a deck yet. So I'm curious to see what you guys are kind of hunting around for the format now that it's wide open and there's a million deck to play.
Yeah. Are you focused on red? Can you take a red deck?
3 right now that I'm looking at with some of the guys that I'm looking at testing with are Eldrazi, Tron, Death Shadow, or Burn.
Oh, okay. Or burn, right?
Yeah, of course. Burn's always in the back pocket,
Yeah.
but Death Shadow would be quite a challenge to learn the nuances of. So we'll see if I have enough time in 2 weeks for that business.
Yeah, dude, that's a hard deck. But I think I could see a burn player converting to Death Shadow.
Yeah, Death Shadow is not easy. Do you like to play Legacy, John? That's your real question because you're basically playing a Legacy deck.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
It was Snap Burn, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it here. So before we talk Modern specifically, Darrel, you want to inform us on the SCG Con that's coming up?
Absolutely. So last weekend during the Philly Open, the Team Constructed Open, SCG announced SCG Con, just a huge tournament and convention that they're doing for Magic's 25th anniversary. So the convention has VIP signups, but it's also the Invitational. There's a no ban list Modern Open. There's a Standard, Modern, Legacy, and Pauper Classic. There's a Power 9 series, so they're going to give away a set of Power 9 in a Vintage tournament. They're going to give away 120 dual lands in a Legacy tournament. They're going to do a sealed, unstabled 4-round event. And they're going to have the Commander Celebration that they normally have at most GPs. With a VIP area where you can play with all the Commander versus guys and Sheldon Menery and Benny Smith. And then they're going to have, like a con style, they're going to have cosplayers, artists, vendors, and arcade games and trivia. So, like, they're going to have a full-blown 3-day event in Roanoke.
Wow, that's awesome. They're like doing this all out 25th anniversary celebration, so Wizards doesn't have to, right?
Yeah, I know. It's like Wizards paid them to do it or something.
I'm kind of impressed. I mean, like usually Wizards kind of, even SCG, they both kind of choke on some of that stuff sometimes, but that sounds like an impressive list of tournaments there.
Yeah,
that's a worthy celebration of 25 years.
Just to highlight the two big sounding tournaments, which are the Power 9 series and the Duel for Duels, what they're calling it. Both tournaments are $100 to enter. Both tournaments are 2 days long.
Really?
Yeah. So day one, everyone shows up. Top 32 or 18 or more match points goes to day two. Another 5 rounds of Swiss after 8 rounds of Swiss, so 13 total rounds of Swiss. Cut to the top 8, and the top 8 plays the obvious top 8 style. So for the Power 9 tournament, first place is an Unlimited Black Lotus and Time Twister. Second place is a Sapphire. Third is a Recall. Fourth is a Mox Jet. Fifth is a Time Walk. Sixth is an Emerald. Seventh is a Pearl. Eighth is a Ruby. Top 16 gets $200 in credit, and top 32 gets $100 in credit and gets their money back.
And it costs $100 to enter?
$100 to enter.
As awesome as the tournament is and as awesome as the prize payout is, like, I don't know that I can get behind a tournament that costs more than $50 to enter. We're growing to accept these kinds of things these days, and it makes me scared for the future.
I mean, it's rough to stomach, but you have to figure that a vintage tournament's probably not going to be that big. They're not expecting it to be that big, and they're probably going to have to expand the prize support because I think they'll be surprised how many people show up to play vintage. But you got to figure first prize is $6,000.
Yeah, and I think the idea too with any of those tournaments is as bad as that cost is and not sustainable for most players. The idea should be that it's sustainable if you actually do well at Magic. Like if you do well at a couple of those tournaments, then you have enough cash to at least carry yourself into the other ones. But
I mean, this
$100 is scary.
And this is the kind of tournament that's happening once. This isn't like your opens that are going to be $100 a piece now. Like this is a high buy-in one-time tournament. Like they might continue to do this, but they might shrink down the price to expand the field. But for the 25th anniversary, they're trying to give away power. And then the Duel for Duels is a legacy tournament, $100. 8 rounds of legacy the first day, same cut. 5 rounds the next day. First is 40 revised dual lands. Second is 2 of each revised dual land, so 20 dual lands. Third and fourth get an EDH set of dual lands, 1 of each. Fifth and sixth get an allied colored dual land set, so that's Savannah, Taiga, Underground Sea, Tundra, and somebody help me out with the last one. Badlands?
Yeah, the other one.
It's bad. It's bad.
Your format, Darrel.
Well, no, I just don't remember the allied colors. Is red black the allied color?
No. What did you miss? Blue green?
No, allied colors, red black.
Badlands.
Oh, red black. Yeah,
So
red
Badlands.
Black. I'm sorry.
So Badlands. And then 7th and 8th get 1 of each enemy color dual land, which is Scrubland, Plateau, Trop, Volk, and what's the other enemy color? Crap. Black. So it's black, white, green, blue, blue, red, red, white.
I mean, this is that's
Bayou.
impressive card there. That would be a fun thing to walk home with.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, if you win, walking home with just a playset of dual lands. And then top 16 is $200, top 32 is $100. So you get your money back. And then there's the no ban list. This is the one I think we want to talk about before we go on to the modern PT. No ban list modern open. Starts on Saturday at 10 a.m.
It's an open?
It's an open. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Starts on Saturday at 10 a.m. Exclusive Sensei's Divining Top playmat. Ely Cassis, Invitational Token winner, capped at 900 players.
They're going to fill up.
Oh, 100%.
For the playmat.
9 rounds of Swiss, then 5 rounds of Swiss cut to top 8. Day 2. Winner gets $5,000 and 30 SCG points and an invitational qualifier. Second gets $2,000. Top 4 get $1,000. Top 8 get 500. Top 16 325. Top 32 200. Top 64 $100. The top 4 or the top 8 all get invitational qualifiers, and then you get SCG points for scoring some number of match points.
Sweet.
No ban list modern.
Yeah, what's gonna happen?
So we're gonna have Hypergenesis, Elves with Skull Clamp, Miracles. Jite is gonna be a card. There's gonna be Dark Depths combo, Affinity with Artifact Lands, Lantern with Artifact Lands, and top. I don't remember what else is on the ban list. Elves will have Glimpse.
Did you say Green Sun Zenith?
And so Elves will basically be Legacy Elves pretty much. Yeah. Wow.
Sounds nuts. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Let me get to. So Birthing Pod could be a deck. Blazing Shoal Infect, Splinter Twin, Chrome Mox for the Storm decks, Bloodbraid Elf, Cloudpost will unseat Tron, Deathrite Shaman will be back for Jund, Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise will be legal, fully powered Eldrazi with Eye of Ugin, fully powered Death Shadow with Gitaxian Probe, Golgari Grave Troll for Dredge. If people are dumb enough to play Control, there's Jace the Mind Sculptor. Mental Misstep will be a card. Ponder and Preordain for the combo decks. Eggs will be a thing again.
Yeah, let's take a moment to just kind of hypothesize here. I'm hearing a lot of people thinking that Sultai Death Shadow is going to be the deck with
so?
Deathrite Shaman.
Mental Misstep.
I could see it. It's almost like Legacy Delver good. Yeah, Mental Misstep as well. But I don't know. I'm not really sure what to make of this. It's hard to say. There is an entire Reddit community that is devoted to no ban list modern.
Wow.
And it's hard to find results on here because I don't think a lot of people host tournaments for it.
I mean,
but
some
Miracles, a lot of people stream.
Miracles will be a thing.
There was a couple tournaments I remember that posted some results too, but it seemed like it was not as crazy as everybody thought it would be. Like I don't know. I mean, you're gonna see those broken things, but the format's already pretty fast. So I mean,
it's just gonna get a little faster. So like.
And kill on turn 2 are not always going to kill on turn 2 or 3 or whatever. So I mean, you may still have some of the average decks that you see all the time win games too. But
so like, here's the thing that I don't know. I'm sure people in the no ban list modern community have thought of, but I just kind of pieced together in my little brain here while we were talking about this. Splinter Twin gets counterbalance. That's a problem, right? Like, that's not a thing that they should have. Like. Top counterbalance Deceiver XR Twin. Flip my top to protect it from path. Like, that seems like not okay.
Well, let me see here. I'm looking at a few results, and I'm only seeing out of 16 decks, I'm only seeing one deck that even runs counterbalance. I did manage to find a tournament, by the way, Mox Boarding House, and it has 3 counterbalance in the sideboard of an Elves deck? No.
What?
Of a Deceiver XR Snapcaster. Okay, this is a Splinter Twin deck. Excuse me.
This is what I was saying. Yes.
There's an Elves deck left of it, but but it's in the sideboard though. It's not the main plan for the deck, and it doesn't even have like any other Miracles stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to play Miracles in your blue-red deck. Bonfire is not good enough. But yeah, like having counterbalance against like Elves and Hypergenesis and stuff like that is just like very, very backbreaking. Like Rite of Flame dies to top. The entire Elves deck gets bodied by counterbalance. And then you have like Hypergenesis dies to having a land on top. So it's like there's a lot of things going on there that you can use counterbalance to go after. But yeah, I would expect to see a lot of Elves because having Skull Clamp plus Glimpse plus Green Sun's Zenith makes it really hard to not want to be playing, Dwinin's Elite plus Heritage Druid plus Nettle Sentinel, and just like tap all your Elves for mana and then just throw them into Skull Clamp and draw a bunch of cards and then just vomit them out on the board, tap them for mana, Glimpse, throw them into Skull Clamp, and just continuing to do that until you draw your Craterhoof Behemoth and kill your opponent.
Yeah.
I think as broken as you can get the speed as possible is definitely important. I actually played in our LGS here, as you guys know, Mox. They had a number of tournaments like that where they were testing things out, but they had you could unban 4 cards. You could pick whatever 4 cards you wanted to unban and play them in your deck. And I remember everybody jumped on like Splinter Twin for that tournament. I just played Bushwhacker Zoo. I played 0 ban cards and just ran everybody over anyways. Like, I think you got the speed, like you were saying, if you power up elves and just like trying to consistently turn 2 or 3, you're probably in good shape. I mean, Amulet Bloom was also pretty busted. I mean, that deck got a lot of turn 2s, so I can see them doing it again.
That could be a thing too. I think yeah.
Go ahead.
I think people are going to try miracles and slowly realize as they start testing that it's not good enough, and that like Counterbalance Top fits in some other shell.
Well, I think in Legacy too, Miracles probably has a better. When it was around, it had a better game because you kind of knew what was in the format there. I mean, you really know what to expect in Legacy versus this tournament. I mean, who the heck knows what you're going to play against? And
I mean,
things are all over the place. So.
There are some like generic cards that you know are going to get played. Like people will play Twin, people will play Hypergenesis, people will play Elves. So like these like generic things that you're going to see, but you don't know like all the weird crap that can climb out of the woodwork. And a lot of the cards that are banned are 1 mana. So like Counterbalance Top is effective, but like the Miracles package may not be the best shell for it.
Sure.
Yeah. I think people will get too cute, and then like you said, John, you just play an aggressive deck and you just kill them. Like,
die to lightning bolt like they always do. Like,
I'm looking at a Jeskai Delver list. This is probably what I'd take to this kind of an event. I missed my opportunity to play the Treasure Cruise Delver decks when they were big in Modern.
Mm-hmm.
And Skull Clamp is in this deck. Spell Pierce, Spell
Pyromancer.
Snare. Everything costs 1 mana. You got Pyromancer though too.
But you get Pro back and stuff too. I mean,
just everybody windmill slam your chalice to the voids on 1 and laugh. Have a good time.
I mean, turbo powered version of Death Shadow too. I mean, that might even get some gains from this. I'm not sure which cards it would want. But
Probe and Misstep, all the Phyrexian mana cards.
I mean, that deck was as scary as it gets, so I don't know what else you could do. I mean, I saw people win games where they had 4-card hands and no mana, so
yeah.
Welcome to the wackiness.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting for sure. Here's what I'm wondering about is after seeing this event go down, like, do you think Wizards looks at a no banless Modern tournament and says, well, look at this, we got the top 32 decks to look at, and there's not a single Bloodbraid Elf in them. And they're like, oh, maybe that can come off the ban list. Or is there any hope that this affects their reasoning with that at all?
That's not something that I thought of.
Yeah.
What's that, John?
I think it does. I think you're right because I mean that you'd get so much data out of that one tournament would be interesting. I mean, you get a lot of results right there, and like you said, if Bloodbraid's nowhere in the top 8 or top 16, then why is it a problem at that point?
And 900 decks.
That's like a fair card too, for the most part.
Yeah, that's smart. I didn't think of Wizards actually doing something like that. Like,
no, they're not necessarily incentivized to do anything to change the format if it's not bad. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? We're not going to be like just willy-nilly unbanning cards just to see what they would do, because things are in a good place right now. However, knowing that Stoneforge Mystic was a fine, it didn't make waves in this 900-player tournament. Could be something that will maybe stimulate interest in the format when it starts to get stale again. Maybe be a potential savior to an Eldrazi Winter 2.0 or something like that.
Yeah, I think you kind of set up the perfect segue to actual Modern, which is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we might see that it's broke, and we just haven't been trying hard enough with the coming Pro Tour.
Before we get to the Pro Tour, though, I just want to make one more point about the SCG Con.
Oh, yeah.
The thing that I'm most excited about, the artists. I don't know. Did you mention the artists? I might have missed that.
I didn't. I mentioned that they would be there, but I did not mention which ones.
Okay, we've got some heavy hitters here. Pete Venters, Christopher Moeller, Anson Maddox, Mark Tedden, and Ken Meyer Jr. Like, we're talking guys that are like classic Magic artists. I did a search on Gatherer for art by Pete Venters first. And we're looking at like, Apprentice Necromancer is a good EDH card. Arkham Degson too. Oh my God, so many cards. Baron Sanger, lots of classics. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, lots of zombies in like Judgment and Torment. Carnophage is a classic. I'd love to get some of those signed. Mark Tedden, Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. Let's see, Doubling Cube, Defense Grid. The list goes on. These are guys that have been making cards since the beginning of the game, and so there's probably plenty of playables in constructed formats that you'd want to get signed by these guys.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I love RK Post, but he is at everything. Like, if you have a signed RK Post card, it's like, oh, that's cool, but I had an opportunity like 4 times to get a card signed by him, or around here we have Jeff Miracola a lot. I'd like to see some guys that, like Mark Poole, for example, would bring out a lot of people.
Right.
Classic Magic artists all the way back to the beginning of the game. Animate Dead is Anson Maddox, as is Landor Elves. So
yeah,
those are
perfect.
High targets.
Mark Poole or Dan Frazier. You'd kind of expect them to almost have the whole original panel of artists and whatnot, because I've seen those guys at a few of the SCG GPs too. But.
Yeah, like the one guy to me that's suspiciously absent, and I don't know if he's still alive, so someone can call me insensitive if I'm wrong. Rob Alexander?
I think he's still around. He's going to events, signing stuff. Yeah,
yeah. Like
so
this would have been a perfect spot. Underground Sea. I'm pretty sure he did some of the fetches. I'm pretty sure he also did the original Hollowed Fountain. Like that's a heavy hitter if you want to get people who want to get signed cards. Like Rob Alexander's a good choice.
That's a good list.
I missed one. The guest of honor though is Greg Staples.
Yeah.
So I missed that one.
Yep.
Which I have to say I'm particularly excited for. This might be the deal breaker here. I'm going to have to go to this because I don't know if I've told you about this Grounded game that we play, but I've been finding these damn things around my house for the last 4 days because a friend of mine came to visit, and we've had this history of planting Grounded, which I would say is the worst card in Magic's history. I'll read it to you in case you're unfamiliar. 1 in a green for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature loses flying. The end. Does jack shit. The art's hilarious. It's called Grounded, which is also hilarious. So the game has been like, plant them in someone's shoe. You put your foot in the shoe. Oh, it's a Grounded. All right. Thanks, John. So that's a Greg Staples card, and I have a stack of about 25 of these damn things sitting on my desk right now because I've been finding them around my house. So I would love to get them signed so that I can plant them and mail them to my friends in the most unsuspecting of places. Great game, by the way.
I've seriously thought about buying like a stack of the Dragon Throne of Tarkir promos and doing something similar. Where like if I get pissed off at one of my friends, I will just like scribble that they're the king of some BS on it and then mail it to them. And be like, you're the king of garbage today. Like,
just gonna go buy a box of Dragon's Maze and do that. That's the perfect use for that.
just sign a pack and tell you you're garbage and ship it off, and then they open a foil voice and you just lose.
Is that Dragon's Maze?
Yeah.
The one card in Dragon's Maze.
It's literally the one card in Dragon's Maze.
All right. Well, now we can transition. All right, we got some Fantasy Pro Tour to do today, but not your mama's Fantasy Pro Tour. I think we ought to jump to that, Darrell. I know we have the Health of the Modern format before the PT, but maybe we can kind of tie that into our conversation.
Absolutely.
For the Fantasy Pro Tour, we've got 6 categories, none of them pertaining to players or teams. I figured, we have a lot of opportunities to pick the winning player, but who really cares? I mean, I love pros and all. A lot of people do, but, it's really hard to determine who's going to win the event, and it doesn't really matter so much who wins the event. And more importantly, to at least our listeners, I would expect, is the cards and the decks that win the event, because we want to see the impact that it makes on the format. So particularly with Modern, where things are pretty open right now without a Pro Tour in, 2 years at this point? It's been a while.
Yeah.
We want to see what this is going to do to the format, and we've got to go to speculation land to find out.
Yeah.
So the first category, and I'm going to go over the points for each one of these categories here. The breakout card of the event, which according to our discussion here, is going to be 4%. Is going to be in 4% or less Modern decks. Okay, so it's a card that is seldom played in Modern, but it just may show up in some decks. That's worth a point, by the way, if you get that. The second one, the breakout deck, also worth a point. What did we decide there? Less than was that less than 4% in the meta
2%,
as well?
Less than 2%.
Less than 2%. Okay, and that's worth a point. The winning deck, you get 3 points if the deck actually wins. You get 1 point if it's in the top 8. The most overrated deck is worth 1 point if not any in the top 8, and 3 points if not any in day 2 at all, which would be pretty impressive. Number 5, anything getting banned on Monday, you cannot pick no. Pick a card, and if it gets banned on Monday, you get, 2 points?
2 points.
We should make that more. Should we make that 3?
3 points. All right, I'm in.
All right, 3 points, deal. And then number 6, because it happens every time, what will be the WotC groaner or point of disappointment or point of irritation this time? There's always something, right? So what is it going to be that WotC does to piss off the player base or make us scratch our heads and wonder?
Well, I guess I have to change my pick for that because I had something just absurd tournament style thing, but it wasn't WotC related. Darn.
You could, that's okay. We can extend it to be that, I think.
Yep. Sure.
But what's on the line, you may ask? And I did not tell anyone about this, but the prize is really something that is sought after. It comes with a lot of prestige,
Right,
and you're really going to want to win this. Let me put it that way. The winner is going to have a custom token, generic token, made with their face on it, and the two losers will have to play that token in their next paper event. There you go. I'm going to Photoshop your head onto a damn creature, and the rest of us, or the rest of you guys, because I'm going to win, will have to use it in the next event. Deal?
Sold.
Sounds good.
All right, drip some blood into your disk drive and send it over.
I will make sure to carry it with me to every competitive tournament I play in, so that if there's a camera involved, I have to play your face on camera.
Perfect. Yeah, we should extend it for life, not just one event. All right. So let's start with the breakout card, and I would like to log these answers so that we can keep track of who's going to win. We're going to have to know. We're going to have to announce the winner in 2 weeks because Monday is our band restricted announcement.
Okay.
I might need time to tabulate.
Yes, you can, dude.
So, Darrel, why don't you start us out? Breakout card.
I got breakout card. I got Goryo's Vengeance. Played in 1% of decks. People know about it, but I feel like that this tournament is going to be the kind of tournament where people are trying to murder each other. And Goryo's Vengeance is very good at murdering people.
Yeah.
Like, that's just straight up, that's how it is. Like, you wanna kill people, cards like Goryo's Vengeance, Moxel Pull, stuff like that, those things kill people.
That's a high risk, high reward kind of pick.
Yeah,
I think
it is.
that card leaves a lot of questioning. Am I going to get blown out by Spell Snare? But the payoff is huge. It's you win the game.
Yeah, the payoff is you win the game. Whether it's Obsidat, Gristlebrand, Borborygmus, Emrakul, they're dead if you play it. Like, it is over. So I feel like if you look at the top of the meta, there's not a lot of counter spells. There's Jeskai control, and that's about it, really. Death Shadow has some, but if we look at Goldfish, well, this is kind of...
the ferocious counterspell, Stubborn Denial, that would take it down. A lot of them go like turn one, I suppose you could do it, Faithless Looting, and then some Simian Spirit Guides. And
right. But like if we look at the top decks,
ideally,
Affinity, Tron, Burn. Humans will be a little tough because Meddling Mage. Jeskai Control, Eldrazi Tron, Blue-Red Breach, Gift Storm, Blue-White Control. So there's some control there. A lot of it is probably like Spell Queller style, where they don't have a lot of counter spells early, but they have like Spell Queller once they get to turn 3. But 20% of the meta, which is Affinity, Tron, and Burn, has no interaction with you on turn 2, and they're just dead.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. John, have you played against the Goryo's Vengeance deck with Burn?
Yeah. I mean, it's
what's that like?
So obviously, it's not very good, and but Grafdigger's Cage is a weapon against them, and I think the problem for Goryo's Vengeance is that deck traditionally has been really inconsistent. It loses a lot of games to itself. So unless some pro solves that issue, I would have a hard time seeing it be a breakout deck. It did top 8 the Classic this last weekend, though. So, you never know. I mean, that is a deck, like Darrel, you said, that is like, it's a broken deck in a vacuum. And if somebody can how to make it better, we'll see.
This is his pick for breakout card, too. So it doesn't necessarily mean the Goryo's Vengeance deck, right?
Yeah.
So there's a potential that Esper Goryo with Obsidat is the deck of the Pro Tour, And I got schooled by that deck the other day. I have to tell you, that's pretty damn powerful. There's a lot of stuff that thing can do.
Yeah, if you don't have Path to Exile, that deck is real good.
I do not. That feels like Modern in a nutshell. It's like if you don't have X, you lose. You're playing Grixis. Okay, these are your matchups you just cannot beat. So deal with it.
I'm looking on Star City here, and actually, I didn't even realize the Goryo deck got second place. It lost in the finals of that Classic too. So
wow.
Maybe there's something too. Apparently they're playing Jace Burns Prodigy. I don't know if that was always in the deck, but
It sounds like the Esper one. Does it have Obsidian in it?
it does not. No, it has like Kiki Jiki Grizzlebrand, Deceiver Exarch.
Oh, this is fancy. All right.
There's Living End in it. That's interesting.
Okay.
Oh my God, Goryo's End twin.
All right.
Here's something else, like, is it Charm and stuff? This is an interesting list. So maybe there is something to it if people can figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called Goryo's As Foretold. So there's even more to it than
it's As Foretold. It's As Foretold Living End that tries to either Kiki Jiki you or Gristlebrand you. Your choice.
Hey, worst case scenario, the game goes really long. Your As Foretold takes up to 8, and you just get to drop Grizzlebrand.
Yeah, you play a free Gristlebrand. What do you got?
That is pretty sweet. Deceiver Exarch on 3 with Living As Foretold. Just poop that thing out.
Yeah.
All right, what do I got? Let's see. I have my breakout card is Hollow One, and that comes after spending an entire weekend getting just absolutely torn into bits by Hollow One.
Hey, you know a good way to beat Hollow One?
Yeah.
Play Path to Exile.
Darrell, there are a lot of things that kill Hollow One, but I think that Hollow One is kind of the centerpiece in the deck that I feel like is going to make a big showing at the Pro Tour this coming weekend. It's, the card itself, and I have to admit, I was down on it when it was spoiled. I didn't think it was going to be good, and I am eating crow right now. I think it's really good. I think that it inspires this deck design that is like akin to Dredge, where it just does all this stuff that you can't deal with. Stuff just gets like vomited out of the graveyard, and you just get beaten down. And so Hollow One is just one of many like dumb like beaters with no abilities. It's like you're just gonna get attacked by a mass of dudes, and if you don't have Anger of the Gods plus a Bolt or something to get rid of those guys, you're just going to continue to die.
Yep.
it's a very Living End-esque deck, but it's I think a little more powerful and it's interesting. I love like the Flame, not Flamekin Phoenix, but what's the 2/2 haste one they have in there?
Flame Wake Phoenix.
Oh,
Flame Wake Phoenix.
Yeah, Flame Wake. Yeah, card's great in there.
Are they playing Vengevine still too, or is that not part of the list? Usually?
I don't think that's not a part of the list of the ones I've seen recently.
Yeah.
But
so I can answer that. Their black-red ones are the most common ones.
That's
and those ones I think are the best. But there are green ones. There are Joan ones that play Vengevine. Some of them that play Vengevine that are like, I think they include blue even, some of them. But primarily we're looking at black-red. And I almost picked Goblin Lore because Goblin Lore is like the big, kind of new inclusion in that deck. That's draw 4 and discard 3 at random for 1 in a red sorcery.
Yeah.
The card's already expensive, but it's an M10 card. And so the supply is pretty low on it based on the fact that it's old.
10th edition.
Yeah, what did I say? M10? 10th edition, yeah.
Yeah.
And so be on the lookout for those.
Yeah, like other cards are pretty, like they give that deck like the pressure start are definitely Flameblade Adept and Bloodcast. So they give you like an early aggressive start, and then you have Hollowed One and what's the fish? Gurmag Angler to follow up. So yeah.
It's really hard to counteract that. It's to have a plan against that deck. I think some decks just beat it because they have they are able to land like a Rest in Peace on turn 2. But it's kind of one of those decks, sort of like Tron, where it's like there's no deck that really has a great matchup against it, just like purely by design. The deck has to stumble to lose, it seems, and that to me screams a deck that a pro would play, based on its aggression and consistency.
Yeah,
sure.
John, what do you got for your breakout card?
I think I might lose this bet by going this route, but let's make this kind of interesting here. I think it's Crack Clan Ironworks.
Oh man, don't you get me started. I love playing Ironworks.
So I went to like a modern tournament at my LGS a couple weeks ago, and one of the buddies there, Ricky Thorson, who's a big player of a lot of the degenerate decks in the area, Lantern, things like that, was playing this KCI combo deck against me, and I was just like, man, this deck is ridiculous. Like, consistent turn 3 kills. He had won like 2 Winnaboxes in a row, and then he went down to the 1K this weekend, and I think he top 8'd it. And I know that it top 8'd like a weekend or two ago at an SCG Open also, but it's way under the radar. and I think that deck has plenty of legs.
So which version are you talking about? Because I've seen a few versions. I've seen like a green-blue version. I've seen like a mono-brown version that played Tron lands, and I've seen like a blue-white version.
Yeah, I think and I think part of that is that this deck doesn't have a big face right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know what one will rise up, but I think he was playing mono brown, but I think that the pros would figure out something with it potentially. But I don't know. I mean, that's a real long shot guess, but
hey, man, no guts, no glory, baby.
I'm looking at a list right now that it is mono brown. I'm not seeing a whole lot of the whatever that white card is that returns all the artifacts. Faith's Reward and also Replenish too.
There's no Replenish doesn't play.
You need that because you have the Mirror Retriever and you're playing eggs. I mean, you just combo out with Mirror Retriever and
Scrap Trawler. Scrap Trawlers are winning.
I think you have Academy Ruins. I want to say too. Isn't that part of the deck usually?
Occasionally they play one of it. So the main engine, if you're playing the mono brown version, the main engine is Scrap Trawler. So
that's right.
You can shoot through your artifacts with Scrap Trawler, make a bunch of mana. Then you play a Hanger Backwalker that's big or a Mirror Battle Sphere or Hanger Backwalker that's big enough to go get your Emrakul. Then you just Emrakul them to death. But Hanger Backwalker, Walking Ballista are both good cards in that deck as skill conditions. Hanger Backwalker functions more during like a combo turn because you can play it for like X=4 or something like that and end up getting +2 mana. And then every time you go through an artifact with your Trawler, you get Hanger Backwalker back, you sink mana into it, and you get 2 extra mana out of it. So like it nets you 2 mana, but it also can just be like a closer because you can just make like 20 birds and say go. If that's like where you get stuck at.
Yeah. Hey, I see one that doesn't even play Emrakul at all. Its win condition is Pyrite Spellbomb.
Yeah.
Perfect. Egg.
Yeah, that version is rough.
Got it in the sideboard, of course.
That version you can't play on Moto, but that version is completely reasonable.
You can't play on Moto, yeah.
No.
A lot of decks that are.
No. That's why.
Excluded from Moto.
That's why the Scrap Trawler Emrakul version became a thing because people were like, well, we can't really play this on Moto if we're trying to like eggs them with like the blue-white version because it's real slow and real clunky. But like you can kind of speed it up if like the blue-white version if you just play a singleton Codex Shredder and you just whir for Codex Shredder because then you can loop a face reward if you get 9 mana. So
yeah, he was casting Whir also, and that was brutal. I mean, some of these things it feels like you can't do anything really to interact with what's going to happen.
Yeah, once Egg starts, if you're not playing the Trawler version, if you're playing the instant speed version, you just can't interact with it. And a lot of people will make mistakes and board in Pithy Needle against Kirkland Ironworks, and that doesn't work because it's a mana ability. So sacrificing the artifact is a part of the cost, and getting 2 mana is a mana ability. So you can Pithy Needle the Ironworks, and they can still keep activating it.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I think that's a good choice, John. I think this one cards like that basically incentivize brewing in like a very specific type of engine that is not really being played much. I think that's sort of appealing to pro teams who are looking to just come with something totally out of left field and just be like, okay, here you go, deal with this.
Yeah.
All right, but you're essentially picking a deck with that one, so that leads us to the next one, which is breakout deck.
But yeah,
start with John. Yeah.
Well, now how are we defining breakout deck though? Are we saying like
less than 2%
played that's going to be big, or to the deck that we think will be like the most played deck?
So the deck that will be big with currently less than 2% meta share on MTG Goldfish, and I can go through that list real quick for you, unless you've already picked one. The things you can't pick are Death Shadow, Affinity, Tron, Burn, Humans, Jeskai Control, Eldrazi Tron, Blue-Red Breach, Gift Storm, Blue-White Control, Black-Green Midrange, Titan Shift, Dredge, Mardu, Pyromancer, and that's the end of the list of things you can't pick.
Yeah, I was looking at that list too. I was going to say Mardu Pyromancer because I think that deck's very, very strong. But
that is the cap. It is the cutoff. Mardu Pyromancer.
It's on there. Yeah. So I guess in that kind of a vacuum, then I'm fine with using KCI as the breakout deck too. Because
you're moving all in. All right.
Well, wait a minute. Nope. You know what? I'm going to audible.
All right.
I don't know if this was on the list. Elves.
Elves is
Okay.
not above 2% meta share, so you can pick.
I still think that deck's very strong, and I think that plus minus number of Anger of Gods is a big factor in how good that deck can be.
Yes.
And there's pilots that are very skilled at that deck. So
very fair.
Hey, I have to amend the points on this one because I think it ought to reflect the winning deck. So why don't we do this instead of just 1 point? Let's do 1 if it's in the top 8 and 3 if this deck wins. I think that's worth some bonus points, don't you?
Yes.
All right, 3 for a win, 1 if top 8. Okay, it's a very scientific process here because like I said, the prize is so great. There's so much honor in this Pro Tour bracket here. Darrel, you wanna do yours?
I will. Jack's still trying to get us, one of our Twitch chat users here, trying to get us on Grixis control for the breakout deck. I'm gonna avoid the control decks. I don't want to be playing Spell Pierce or Spell Snare. I don't want to touch Snapcaster Mage for this Pro Tour unless I'm playing Grixis Death Shadow. I'm gonna go for another fast combo deck, Ad Nauseam. So
yeah,
the deck blows up to itself. Like that happens. Like sometimes you just don't draw Ad Nauseam, or you get Surgical Extraction and you just die. Like that happens. But like there are a lot of turn 3 kills that can float around with this deck. Turn 4 kills, and the format when not interacting is Ad Nauseam is a very good place to be. So it might be a turn 2 slow because Storm's critical turn is turn 3, but I think that as far as like breakout decks, we've seen Ad Nauseam get played to the top of modern Pro Tours before, and I think we'll see it again.
All right, that's a fair pick as well. Another kind of oddly specific hit him from left field type.
Yeah.
This is a hard one for me, but I have to.
I think I already know.
Bait from Jag Stowe, and Grixis Control is taking this thing down, baby. First place, not even top 8. First place.
You're audibling?
Give me a Grixis Control mirror match in the finals. Man, I'm audibling.
I can't buy it.
Did I say that I was going to do Hollow One?
You did. Originally, you told me Hollow One was where it was at, but you're audibling to Grixis Control?
Hollow One is my breakout card. I was tempted to pick Search Res Kanta as my breakout card because of Grixis and all the other things, but I think that's kind of on the verge of not a breakout at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. So you're going to Grixis Control?
Yeah, dude.
All right.
I believe 100% in Grixis Control, it's going to happen. Unfortunately though, my 2 top picks here, my breakout card and my breakout deck, they don't gel because I've been playing Grixis Control quite a bit, and like I said, Hollow One has been just tearing me a new one. So I really hope that that's not the breakout card because that would prevent Grixis Control's well-due time in the spotlight.
Yeah. I sat here and I thought about it, and John, I thought about it too. It's like, do I just go all in and like put it all in the same basket and just be like, I'm shoving on Goryo's Vengeance, or do I just like, something here, something there, hope to get some lucky? I don't know. So I'm all over the map. I'm going to be honest.
You gotta play it safe, right? You can't go all in on it.
Yeah, I'm not feeling all in. That's not my strategy today. So how about the winning deck, Corey? What do you got?
Well, here's the thing. Now, I just said that Grixis Control was going to win, and I still think that. But based on in the spirit of the game here, I want to hedge my bets a little bit. I want to pick a different deck for the winning deck.
All right.
And so what I'm going to pick is Grixis Death Shadow, because I think it's the equivalent of like 2018's Jund deck, and I think a lot of pros are going to bring it to the events. It's got Thoughtseize in it, which is a big plus.
Yeah, Thoughtseize always a good one.
I gotta hedge my bets and go with Grixis Death Shadow as much as I want to pick Grixis Control. At least it's Grixis.
All right, John, what do you got?
This is tough. Yeah, winning deck. I think that Sam Black talked about this a lot too, that the most broken thing is what you want to be doing in Modern. And it does seem like every time we've had a big Modern event, like a big Grand Prix or a big Pro Tour, that something truly busted has been towards the top, whether it be Splinter Twin, Amulet Bloom, something like that. Yep. And so I would say for me, it's a little bit of a toss-up between, I think the 2 decks that are kind of very difficult to beat at times can be Death Shadow and Humans. I'm going to go with the same as Corey, though. I think that Grixis Death Shadow, I think it's a deck that is got to be one of the most challenging ones to play in Modern, but these are the people that can pilot it and practice with it. And so I think that I also agree. I think that's going to win.
I think you guys are going to notice a pattern in all of my picks here. That they don't really give a damn what you're doing. And they're going to make you beat them while they're doing their thing. I got the winner as Blue-Red Storm.
Really? All right.
I got Gift Storm. Like, the deck just kills you on turn 3. Like, did you interact with them? Nope, you're dead. Like, turn 3, it is over. See you later. And that's like, draw a ritual and a Gifts Ungiven, and they can't lose. So, like, I think that people are going to have a hard time not playing this deck because it's just the most broken thing. And if you, like, watch the way people tend to gravitate towards decks in Modern, John Finkel, Kai Boot, like, all these good players, they're playing Storm.
Yeah, if John Finkel is going to be there.
If John Finkel's in my corner, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm gonna take a gamble that he might be playing Storm, but I seriously think that just, like, Storm is the best combo deck in the format. It's the most resilient combo deck in the format, I think. And, like, I'm just willing to, I think that very unfair things are going to be what's going to win this Modern Pro Tour.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's a fine guess, too. I was very close to picking Storm. I think it's the most abusive combo deck in the format as far as just smacking you over the head as early as turn 2. Sometimes I suppose you can go off on 2 if you.
You can, but it's like really, really risky.
Seen it. Yeah.
You gotta have like Ritual, Manamorphose.
I'd say turn
cost reducer.
Turn 5 4 through 6 is more typical.
Turn 3 is really like
the
most
you can
consistent time.
Consistently turn 3, right?
If your guy just lives on turn 2 and they don't kill it, then they're dead.
Yeah.
Like then all you need is a single Ritual and a Gifts Ungiven, and you can go get Past in Flames, Grape Shot, Manamorphose, and a Ritual, and they have to give you 2 of them, and then they're just dead.
I should hope that players on the Pro Tour won't allow it.
I mean, sometimes you just don't have it, though.
Don't have a choice,
yeah. Yeah, sometimes it just lives.
All right. Most overrated. This is a deck that is not going to day 2, or for 1 point, it's not going to top 8. So, Darrel, you want to start us off? Look like you got something on the tip of your tongue here.
So I had a deck written down, and I sat and I was thinking about it, and I'm an audible. So I was going to pick Affinity.
Okay. I don't know if that one counts. It's not overrated right now. It's not considered to be the best Modern deck at this point in time, as it usually is.
So I'm looking at just the meta share and like trying to figure out like, of the top decks, what deck is just like people are playing it and they have no business playing it. And I was gonna say
Affinity is in there.
I was gonna say Affinity, but I'm an audible. And you guys know how much I like to watch paint dry.
Yeah.
I don't want to go anywhere near Celestial Colonnade for this Pro Tour.
Oh, Darrel.
I don't want to be anywhere near Cryptic Command and Field of Ruin and Spreading Seas. I don't want to be playing Gideon Jura. Blue-White Control, I don't want to be nowhere near it. And I think that deck is going to be...
Blue-White?
Yeah, I think that deck is going to be embarrassing.
Yeah.
No, Blue-White specifically.
Well, Blue-White's not really a deck. I mean, it is a deck, but I would say Jeskai like the premier control.
Yeah,
deck.
dude. You got to pick Jeskai if you really want to make a claim here. What do you think about Jeskai?
Hold on. Now, let me level with you. The Jeskai control that is the 6th position on Goldfish isn't Jeskai control. It's Geist's Same Draft Tempo.
Okay.
All right. Deck. But that's,
the 2 control decks of Jeskai and Blue-White have the exact same meta share percentage of 3.02. So they're literally the same deck. And I would rather be playing Jeskai because Bolt Snapple is like a reasonable thing that you can do in Magic the Gathering to kill your opponent.
Yeah.
So Jeskai seems like a legitimate thing you can do. I don't want to be anywhere near this deck list. 2 Snapcaster Mage, 1 Wall of Omens, 2 Gideon of the Trials, 1 Jace, 1 Gideon Jura, 3 Cryptic Commands, 4 Spreading. I don't want to be anywhere near that. That's going to be embarrassing.
Yeah, that's fair.
People are going to try.
I don't want anything to do with it.
People are going to play Tron. Like, this thing is embarrassing. I don't want to. I love playing it. I love it to death. I don't want to be doing it. At a Pro Tour.
It's just not a good day. It's not a good day for it.
No, I don't think.
It's raining. Stay inside.
Yeah.
Sphinx's Revelation is not the greatest thing to be doing with your mana these days. Unfortunately, it's the dream at other moments in time.
Yes. If the format's mid-range deck didn't have blue in it and they wanted to play Jund, I'd be like, suit this up, smash their Raging Intervenes, cast Sphinx's Revelation, laugh them out of the building. Because this deck has a laughable Jund matchup, especially with Search for Azcanta. But when people are playing Death Shadow and Gurmag Angler and Force Spike that turns into Counterspell, you've got the Path to Exiles to beat them. But if you come up short, you're going to get rocked.
Yeah, that's fair. I hope you eat your words, Darrel, just based on the my love for Control as well. But I have to agree with you that it's probably not going to make a big splash, unfortunately. All right, John, what do you got?
Most overrated. I think my first answer was going to be Jeskai Control for this, the tempo version. I think it's dead. But I audibled during the cast here because Darrel had to bring it up over here. I think Storm is the most overrated deck in Modern. I don't think it's good. I think it's a glass cannon, and I think that the times when it's very good are because it just doesn't have people interacting with it. And I think that most decks are capable of doing that. And it's just too reliant on having enough of those creatures live or enough of their sequences go right. And good players with good decks are just not going to let that happen. And I've seen that deck get like murdered too many times in tournaments to see it actually break through. I would be a little like interested to see how it does in the hands of somebody like John Finkel, like you mentioned, but I just don't think that it's a good enough deck.
All right. I hope that you're right about that one.
I don't think it's missing anything. I think it has the pieces that it wants. I just think that it's not as resilient as kind of claimed over here. So this is good, though, Darrel, because we're on opposite sides of the fence with it, so I want to see what happens.
It's fair. Totally
Someone's
fair.
getting their face on a token.
So, yeah, so one of us is not getting a token if one of us is right.
They'd probably be happy to see Gitaxian Probe back, that's for sure.
Wait, did we see what token we're being put on over here? Do I get to be
I'm going to determine that. It's going to have a unicorn on it for sure, though.
A unicorn, all right.
Oh, my.
All right, my most overrated, Lantern Control. And
okay,
this is one
I'll buy that.
This is one that is sort of like understood as the quote-unquote best deck in the format by the people who have never played the deck. I'm one of those people. I have to admit I've never played the deck, but I do feel like with that understanding, there's not a good chance that this deck can go and just take over a Pro Tour. You know, if people are thinking that this deck is the one that is the hardest to play but has the highest reward, so, you know, obviously the pros are going to be good at it. You know, you got to come into it with things prepared for the Lantern Control matchup, and I think that this can be outplayed. I really do. I don't think it's just a total like dominant force in Modern. I'm not in. I hope you guys agree with me.
So you say that it can be outplayed?
Heck yeah.
And your outplaying really only comes in mulliganing. And you have to really have blue to be able to outplay it. So like in game ones, you're probably just gonna lose to it. Because you probably don't have a way to beat Snaring Bridge. And unless your deck is like Storm or like something broken. Something broken that doesn't attack, then you're probably gonna lose to Bridge.
There's a lot of broken that doesn't attack, you know.
I mean, Storm is just like the alpha thing that's on the top, but Burn is another good one. If you're not playing those decks, like you're gonna have a hard time. And they also can just whir for Witchbane Orb, and then you just lose.
Yeah, there is a Witchbane Orb now, so
yeah. So like whir is a big deal. So like you can just lose to that. And then game two, everyone has Ancient Grudge and stuff, so it's like the sideboard games get much harder. But like that deck only really loses to Stony Silence.
I don't know, man. I mark my words. Overrated. Overrated.
I think it's pretty accurate. I think that like there's a lot of shutdown cards for that deck. I think that the deck's very powerful, and I think there's certain pilots that can overcome most of the hate. But I think it's like real selective pilots in practice, even at the PT level. So that would be my worry about that deck actually having a big performance.
Sure.
But otherwise, like, you know, I think it does powerful things. So I don't know. It is a scary deck, but
yeah.
I don't mind that as an overrated pick. I don't think it's going to win the PT, but I might eat my words. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll certainly day two. I don't think you're getting 3 points out of that one.
You know, it'll probably day 2, but I don't think it's going to top 8. So I want a point. That's what I want.
Yeah, you're
I think
playing
Sam
it
Black
safe.
will probably play this deck, don't you?
Oh yeah,
We
100%.
should have done a top 8 prediction. Predict the actual decks we think we're going to be in the top 8.
Oh, that's too hard. It's too many choices. Because you could
I
pick
feel-
8 different decks
I
and
don't know.
have too many points to spread out. Like that's way too hard.
You know, son of a bitch, I had a good plan for my breakout deck, and I totally forgot about it. I mean, I'm certainly going to pick Grixis Control no matter what, but I think that there's a good chance that Amulet Bloom makes a big showing on the Pro Tour. So that's my second pick.
Well, you don't get to pick again. You can be on record as thinking that it might be possible, but it doesn't count for points.
Just credit me with that when it happens. What's that?
Are we getting trolled? Was that what that was? Or
No, man, that's real. That's a real deal. I think that deck is it's poised for a comeback, and it's the Pro Tour where it's going to happen.
Don't call it a
Amulet
comeback.
Bloom Winter.
Don't call it a comeback. It's been here the whole time.
All right, should we move on? Number 5, anything getting banned on Monday? Your answer cannot be no. Once again, you have to pick something. What's going to get banned on Monday?
Yeah, you have to pick something. I'll start with Corey. Corey, what do you got?
All right, once again, hedging my bets. I know this doesn't really conform with my other selections, but Expedition Map is getting banned on Monday. And
Really?
I may not actually believe that, but that's what I'm going to pick for the sake of the game.
Really?
I think Expedition Map, kind of represents something that allows Tron to consistently assemble turn 3 Tron. Without it, you have to wait until turn 2 and like Sylvan Scrying with a Chromatic Star or whatever the hell those cards are called. But Expedition Map played off of an Urza's Tower means that you're dead on turn 3 if you don't have an answer to Karn. And so I think that that's the piece that if Tron has its predictable coming out party this weekend after some hiatus, Expedition Map is on the chopping block. But Darrell, you seem skeptical. Why?
That's not the card I would ban if I'm going after Tron. I would just ban a Tron land. Like
I just need somebody to explain to me why Tron has had some really good performances in the last couple months, because I don't get it. Like, it's not a fast deck in this format, and that turn 3 Karn or turn 3 Wormcoil is not usually consistent.
Okay, you'd be surprised how consistent. Like, the problem is, do they have Karn? But turn 3, so Tron is this really resilient deck that can just mulligan to 5 and still hit it on turn 3. And that's not a nut draw. It's just I had a map and a star and a Tron piece and I got you.
What are the this versions doing? I'm not too familiar with those. So what are they?
So there's two versions. There's a green-black version that's just playing fatal pushes and collective brutalities. So it has interaction to beat the matchups that were really good against it because it kills the little guys. And then it has Wormcoil Engine and Ugin to clean up the big things. And then you just have the top end of a World Breaker and 2 Ulawogs and 4 targets. So it has the Tron top end, but it has it has Fatal Push and Collective Brutality to mop up the little crap that was beating it up earlier. The other version is just Eldrazi Tron, which is just I'm gonna put these big dumb idiots into play, and you have to figure it out. And Chalice is a really hard card to beat, and so LOL, good luck. But both of those things, the problem is, if they can just Tron you on turn 3, you just get bodied. There's nothing you can do about it. So you just get these free wins where they just play a turn 3 card on the play, eat your land, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then they just have the inevitability with Ulamog. So if you want to play a long game, you have to be able to counter Ulamog and take the hit of losing 2 lands. And if you can't do both, you lose.
What are the worst matchups for Tron? Would it be the really aggressive decks and the burn decks?
Very fast decks.
So burn is really pretty suppressed right now by a lot of the control that's going around. And
burn.
Generally, it's not.
Infect.
Yeah.
Infect is an extremely bad matchup for Tron.
Although they were saying that Burn, but then last weekend Burn was the winner of the Classic and another one in top 8 or top 16 too. It was actually all over that tournament. So
yeah.
I don't. It's that in the bad of a position, but yeah, Tron doesn't have a good matchup against that. But that black-green version you described, Darrell, that sounds pretty messy. Those are cards I never want to see as a Burn player.
Yeah,
brutality, make you cry.
Yeah, and they can get rid of the extra cards like Sylvan Scrying that just aren't doing anything, and they can just strip your hand, gain a little life. They have Thrag Tusk and Wormcoil Engine is big life gain. So it's just there's a lot of life gain there to try and beat up on her.
Yeah, Brutality in a Fractus sounds like a place I don't want to be. So, but
Yeah.
it's still one of those
Okay.
decks. I mean, I've played against Tron so many times with Burn, and I've just rarely ever lost a single match against them. Like it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's morphed from green red to green black for the early removal and the collective brutality, because people were figuring out the collective brutality would help you with your burn matchups and your like humans matchups so much. They kind of lost the removals, like the sweepers, and they just play O-Stone and Ugin as their sweepers. But like you don't really need a lot of sweepers out of Tron. You just need to live for the first 4 turns so that you can assemble Tron and then play some giant idiot and they can't win.
Wasn't there a big Modern tournament like about a month or 2 ago? I feel like it was out in Seattle or something. There's some kind of Grand Prix, and didn't Tron have a huge showing or something like that? And won the tournament.
Yeah, there's a huge showing. Cause I remember Seth Manfield was talking about it. A lot of the pros were like, Tron's just.
Yeah, it seemed like the pros deck.
Tron's just nuts.
He's kind of Jess guy, so I don't know if Jess guy's good against Tron. I thought it was kind of bad against Tron. So I don't know.
Jess guy's kind of bad against Tron. Unless you can like tempo them with like your cryptic commands, like the Spellcaller version and the Geist version is much better because you can put a clock into play and then like tempo bounce their lands and stuff like that. Like blue white is usually like blue white and then like tempo Jeskai are the 2 blue decks that have the best Tron matchup. But even with blue white, where you have 8 land destruction spells, they just eventually hard cast those things, and you just can't beat a hard cast card. You just can't beat a hard cast dude because you run out of counter spells. Because game 1 you have these crappy removal spells, and then game 2 when you bring in all these like ceremonious rejections, you still just lose to Ulamog and Worldbreaker eating your lands, because then they can keep sacking lands to get back Worldbreaker, keep Worldbreaker in your lands. No matter how many times you counter it, you're just not going to have lands anymore. Mm-hmm. And you can't win as a control deck with no lands.
Right.
So.
All right, let's move on.
All right. So that was you, Corey?
By the way, before we do, though, I just need to answer your question. You said, why Expedition map over the Tron lands? I think that the policy on the whole ban thing is kind of changing. We're changing our philosophy on that. And I don't think Wizards wants to just completely ban the deck. I think that would piss people off. But the standard bannings represent bannings that can just slightly nerf the deck while it still is playable. We see Energy still existing. We see Ramanop Red still existing without the cards that were banned from those decks. I think Expedition Map would slow it down and reduce its consistency.
That's very fair.
And do the same for Eldrazi.
That's very fair. John, what do you got?
All right.
Actually, I kind of like the direction that Corey was heading. I don't think Expedition Maps. I kind of more what you said, Darrell, with like a Tron land. Like, that's kind of interesting because that does kind of nullify 2 decks that are strong right now. But I would say, boy, this is tough. I don't know, because there's those top 4 or 5 decks especially are quite a bit different in terms of what they share and whatnot. I feel like it's going to be... You know what? I am going to go with the Tron land. I think that's a safe pick. I think that's a card I could see being banned. It would irritate a lot of people, but it doesn't seem like Wizards is afraid of doing that at this point.
You got to pick one specifically, John. It's a game.
Okay, we'll go with Urza's Top.
That's a good choice, but what if they pick Urza's Mind just to be a little nicer? You can have 5 mana, but not 7.
I think you should still get 2 points because it's the general idea.
All right, Tron lands.
That Shadow backup, I think. That Shadow would be the backup, but even may not be the key piece to it. It is kind of the center of the deck. So.
Yeah.
So, and I've been thinking about this, and I'm probably going to trick myself here because Death Shadow is what I wrote down initially. And then there's just 2 cards in my head that keep screaming like, these 2 cards engender really bad play patterns, and we should ban them, which are like Mox Opal and Simian Spirit Guide. And so I'm like up in the air between like the 2 cards I'm really thinking about are Mox Opal and Death Shadow. So Mox Opal powers down a lot of other like small decks, but I think that Death Shadow is just the card that causes the most problems because it creates this legacy style deck in Modern, and that's not something you want to like. It totally like if you look at all the other mid range decks, like Death Shadow is just better than them because like so the best cards in Modern are Thoughtseize and Inquisition. Like I'm willing to like lay my life on the line that like. Those are just the 2 best cards in Modern, and they're essentially equivalent.
Right.
Straight up.
Right, because that black deck can just play them and then have a fair chance against every deck in the
Well,
format.
it gives you fair chance. It gives you perfect information. You can poke a hole in your opponent's strategy.
Right.
And in the case of Thoughtseize, it powers up your strategy by moving you further down the line to playing a cheap 4/4 that enables Stubborn Denial to protect itself. So, if Thoughtseize and Inquisition are the best cards in Modern, which I think they are, I really want Thoughtseize to be panned, but like that's not a realistic thing. So, if Thoughtseize and Inquisition are the best cards in Modern, what mid-range deck is the best with them? So Tarmogoyf is a card, but it got blanked by Death Shadow. It got blanked by Gurmag Angler. It went down with the incoming of Fatal Push. So I don't really want to be touching a green Thoughtseize deck because like your best threat is bad against the best removal spell in the format, which is Fatal Push. So if the best removal spell is Fatal Push and the best card is Thoughtseize, how can I leverage that the most effectively? And the answer is to play Death Shadow, because you have these Baneslayer Angels that, like, if you've watched Patrick Sullivan's rant about Chupacabra, you have these big creatures that when you untap them, they swing the game. And they're high risk, high reward in Tassiger and Gurmag Angler and Death Shadow. And your opponent just died to them. You have Snapcaster Mage, which is this ridiculous Mole Drifter that gets you so much value. And it can protect you, it can play offense, it can play defense. And the reason I don't like the control decks that don't have Lightning Bolt is because you can't really play offensive Snapcaster Mage. Playing like defensive Snapcaster Mage is embarrassing. Playing like Bolt Snapcaster Mage or Snap Thoughtseize Snapcaster Mage, like being able to play a proactive and offensive Snapcaster Mage is a very important thing for these decks. And then you have the best 2-for-1 in the format in Cooldown's Command. It ups your game against Affinity, it gives you back the best Mole Drifter, it gives you back the best threat in Tassiger, it gives you back a big beater in Death Shadow, and you can just also just randomly have a combo kill. Because you can just hemorrhage your life points, play Team or Battle Rage, and kill your opponent on turn 3 uninteractive.
Right.
So, like, all those things put together make that deck really good, and I think the pivotal thing at the center of it is that you have this 1-mana 6/6.
Yeah, I'm looking
Darrel?
at the third place list from the Open here, the Death Shadow one, and I'm like, man, this deck is so ridiculous. Like, every card in here, like you said, Darrel, is just doing some of the most powerful things in Modern. Like, you're playing 16 creatures, all of which are insane. Like, Street Wraith breaks the rules. The other 3 are, going to kill you. And then you're playing the best removal, the best discard, and like you said, the combo. And you're drawing to all of them with cards like Opt, or you're countering anything they would do to stop them with Stubborn Denial. I don't know what you can do against that if you're playing against a good pilot that has access to 7 cards in his hand that are all phenomenal in Modern.
Fair.
What were you going to say, Corey?
Well, I was going to change the subject a little bit. So on the topic of Death Shadow being good, it really does kind of attack on the axes that make other decks really good, which is like aggressive, huge creature, ridiculous double striking trample situation, or pick their hand apart with like Thoughtseize. And it has all of those appealing things packed into one package. But the thing, I've played Death Shadow a lot, and it just doesn't work for me. And maybe it's just not my style of deck, which I'd say is surprising because I'm a Delver player previously. But it's really different. It's a lot different, and I think it takes a certain kind of player to play like a Thoughtseize style deck. I often don't feel like I'm making the right decision when I make them discard. But when I lose with the deck, it's because I'm flooding out. It's because I need to draw a gas, and I'm drawing lands off the top of my deck. And Death Shadow has proven to be able to win big tournaments, but I just feel like, if you get one of those games where you draw like the wrong part of your deck, like you just aren't seeing a Death Shadow, maybe you've got a Team or Battle Rage in your hand all game, and you're just drawing lands and Thoughtseizes. It's like there's a lot of the deck can lose to itself in that problem, I feel. And maybe I just am not playing it right. I don't know.
So I think there's one thing that a lot of people do wrong when they play this deck, and it's how aggressively they cycle Street Wraith.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a hard decision to make.
So in the early game, it totally makes sense to aggressively cycle Street Wraith, depending on the composition of your hand. But when you're in the 3-mana area, aggressively cycling Street Wraith isn't particularly good, because a lot of decks play Swamp, and just having a 3/4 that doesn't die to Fatal Push, doesn't die to Lightning Bolt, doesn't die to Kolaghan's Command, and is unblockable is just a big deal. So like a lot of people, sometimes in that like mid-game area where you've got 3 or 4 lands, a lot of people are undervaluing, sandbagging a 3/4 unblockable to get to play when they have a 5th land.
Yeah.
Especially when your opponent's at a low life total.
All right, to be fair, this is my deck that I picked to win the tournament, so I don't want to trash talk it too much. But I guess as far as being banned, I think that the consistency factor is something to count. Whatever. It is a thing to consider. It's not consistently destroying everything. It's a good deck. It's a damn good deck.
And honestly, the card that could go and like make this reasonable is you could just ban Street Wraith. But like,
you could.
I could see that. I could see that being the thing.
Profile.
But I think Death Shadow is sort of the card that holds it all together and makes Street Wraith like a reasonable magic card. So.
All right. So you picked Death Shadow. I was gonna say you pick Mox Opal every other time. So this one time that you don't put the free mana in Modern on the list,
yeah, they'll ban it. They'll just straight up ban Mox Opal, and I'll just flip my desk over.
If Lantern has a great weekend, then I could see Mox Opal on the chopping block.
Yeah, I pick Mox Opal every time, so I figured I'd switch it up.
All right, let's go to go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like we should be smart with that though too, where it's like it does seem like mana is often the key to their bannings for Modern. Like you have Eldrazi Temple or not Temple. What was the Ayabukin, and you had Gataxian Probe cards that are essentially free. Like there are a lot of bannings surrounded by how accelerated they make something. So
So like, but they haven't touched Mox Opal the entire time, which is why I like aggressively pander for it, because I want them to just ban Mox Opal and Simian Spirit Guide and be done with it, but they just don't. And Death Shadow is another one of those cards that is very cheaty on mana, because 1 mana 1/1s are fair, 1 mana 2/2s, those are mythic rares. One mana 3/3s, that's wild in the coddle, and you got to jump through some hoops. We've never seen 1 mana 4/4 ever. And at what point is a 1 mana vanilla creature too good that you would legitimately have to ban it? If there was no conditions, like is it 4/4? Is it 5/5? And like you get rewarded for just playing a normal game of Modern. Fetch Shock Thoughtseize, Fetch Shock player spells. So like you're just talking about an actual no cost vanilla XX. So like that kind of gets to that point where we're talking about cheating on mana.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, because it is a card, it is a deck that is very known. It's a known commodity. It's expected to see Grixis Death Shadow at the event. So if, despite all of that and all the hate that people are packing, it just takes over the damn tournament, then it deserves a ban.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the last one. Number 6, what will WotC do or reveal, or Darrell, in your case, what will happen at the tournament that will make us groan, disappointed, or pissed off? You got a good one for us, Darrell? You had something about...
I do, and this is something that happened last Pro Tour, and I know, John, this will be in the forefront of your mind, is just a real disappointment to see someone make such a very small mistake with a Hazoret to prevent themselves from getting into the top 8. And so I feel like we're going to see the real sadness-inducing punt in or for the top 8 that you know when it happens it's wrong, and you do it and you get mad about it at F&M, and it really sucks to watch someone playing at such a high level make such a small mistake because of nerves or unfamiliarity with the cards or the stage or anything like that. You want to see the top most optimal games of Magic played at all times.
And Darrell, you cut out a little bit there, but were you talking about the Hazoret play?
I was.
Yeah, that was sad to watch.
The slam dunk where all he had to do was cast all of his spells at sorcery speed and then smash with Hazoret. And he's attack phase and just didn't get to kill his opponent with Hazoret when he had the rest of the points and burn in his hand to kill him.
Yeah. And as you're right in the sense of disappointment there, where you want to see the pros play their best game. You hate to see somebody lose like that. But also I feel like it was the talk of that top 8. I mean, it was an incredible moment in a tournament where this guy has it, and then that kind of a play happens. I mean, there was some excitement level to that part. He's moving on because of this, you know.
But there's also,
as they say, all news is good news for Wizards. It's good publicity no matter what happens, because it generates some conversation for sure.
They let the Golden Boy win the tournament too. So, I mean, Paul, what the hell? What a run.
But that's my pick. Is really disappointing punt that like breaks your heart when you watch it as a Magic player. Like that's my pick for thing of the tournament that disappoints me.
Yeah.
All right, I got one for you. As you know, Masters 25 is coming out in March 16th. It's not far away, it's just over a month.
Oh boy!
So I'd say that we're due for some spoilers for Masters 25, at least a couple, just to kind of tease you about it. And I feel like the most disappointing, the most groaner moment of the weekend's coverage is we're going to get the lamest and most unexpected Masters 25 spoilers that are the iconic cards in 25 years of Magic the Gathering. Potentially, that could be Shivan Dragon or Sarah Angel at Rare or something along those lines. Potentially, it could be like some card that you didn't even know existed at Rare or Mythic being the highlighted card on the weekend. But what I wanted to say was Masters 25 is spoiled, and there are no reserve list cards on it because I wanted them to use this opportunity to just be like, nope, wiping the slate clean. We're going to do reserve list, deal with it. 25 years, we're moving on. But I thought that was too bold.
Yeah, way too bold. Way too bold.
Wait, so would you have been disappointed if they had put reserve list cards in Masters?
Oh, no. I would be disappointed if they didn't, but that I figured would be
which I think they won't,
enough.
but it would be. I'm with you, Corey. That would be nice to see. But
it was perfect timing, don't you? 25 years. We're gonna turn the page.
Yep. Go on to the next 25 years. Yep.
You got to feel too like it could be something they could do as a one-time thing. You know, I mean. Yeah. People are going to go hog wild and buy endless amounts of that product, and there's going to be a limited run on it anyways.
Yep. Hopefully. But we saw Iconic Masters, you know. It could be like even a collector's edition type of thing, you know. Like it could be a silver bordered set that's designed specifically for drafting. It's a paper draft format. You can draft the cards that you never get to play. You know? That'd be cool. Or a gold border or whatever.
John.
All right, John, you got one?
I think that it would probably be I feel like most pro tours are when they kind of have done money announcements, so I think they're going to cut I think they're going to cut more funding and rewards for the pro level again, and that's going to be a pretty big disappointment for folks. But
oh boy,
I hate saying that because it's depressing, but that's kind of the Wizards does at these events.
I can totally see that happening too. Now that you mentioned it,
make getting a living harder for pros. So
yeah,
you know,
what better place to advertise the lack of or the reduction in funding than at the Dem event, where all the people are enjoying the results, the fruits of the labor, if you will.
I wish I had some positive thing to say about it, though. I feel like a big thing they did recently that was really good was the play design team that they were talking about. I think that that was kind of an interesting move where they realized, okay, our general process is too slow and cathartic here, and we don't have enough foresight here with the way that we design our sets to be able to prevent some of these issues that we have in our formats. And so I think that play design team, I'm really curious to see how it works out, because they actually put the best players involved in that. So they can't figure it out. I don't know who's going to.
Nope.
So.
Yeah, that seems kind of like a sour note to end the cast on. But we should probably close out with something like, hey, there's likely going to be some positivity along Magic Arena announcements or some kind of spoilers that are actually going to excite us. Yeah. I would hope that that's the case. But we've kind of come to expect that there's something that we're going to be talking about on Monday. Like, did you see that?
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. So that said, we are going long. It's an hour and 23 minutes. John, thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, absolutely.
John?
I'm here. Yep.
Thanks for coming on again, man. Good luck at Toronto. For those of you watching on Twitch, I want to show you, we're going to be giving away some tokens. So on the bottom of your screen here, there's a link to Card Knock Life. Oh, hey, how did that get there?
Oh, we just got grounded. Darn.
There it begins, so pass it on, pay it forward. But yeah, we will give away some of our tokens. All you have to do is like us on our Facebook page. There's a link to that on the bottom of the screen. And I'll send you a grounded and a couple of tokens when you get selected as a winner. We'll announce a couple next week, and I'd like to just continue doing that. So push people to our Facebook. We'd like to have some more involvement on our Facebook. Comment. We don't get paid for this, so the reason we do this is for the feedback and for the enjoyment of the game and sharing that with everyone. So
Yep.
Thanks in advance for participating. And thanks for watching. So we are closing out. We're done. See you later.
Peace.